Hello, and welcome to another 15 plus 10 video. We have another Alapin. I've been fairly happy with the position, so I've not been in a rush to change this. And then now, pretty much always, we go bishop b5. And followed by castling. Then queen b6. Play knight c3. Which I guess also means I threaten d5. So if I take on d5 right now, as I suppose I must calculate now, taking on d5, queen a5 check, knight c3, just wins me a pawn. Knight e5, queen takes b5, I have check on c7. Knight takes b5, bishop takes f3, g takes f3, queen takes d4, bishop takes c6, check, removing the defender. Does knight d5 just win? Or, well, at least win the pawn? Knight e5, the queen has to, well, either the queen moves or bishop takes f3 and g takes f3. Nothing changes, I don't think. Okay. I suppose black could try to castle queenside to pressure on d4, but like I can ruin the structure here. It's nothing to be worried about. Oh, now that they're forcing me to it, I think I can just take. The original intention of bishop b5 was to take on c6. And I could just castle. We can also play h3. h3 comes with tempo. And then when bishop takes, queen takes, I'm hitting c6 with tempo, which is nice. Yeah, I think I will go with that. Castling, I can of course do, but I like going with the forcing line, if there's no other reason. If there's no other real difference. So presumably black wants to get their bishop over to c4, and if they do that, if they had the extra turn, they'd stop me from castling, but at this point I can just castle and then go rook e1, and they don't have the development to make me worry about anything. So, knight e5, bishop c4, rook e1, black castles. I don't think that's effective in any way. Bishop g5, just targeting the c7 pawn, is slightly tempting. Developing another piece, getting close to connecting the rooks. And then if I play knight d2 to kick out a bishop on c4, it's not blocking in the bishop. So just bishop g5, queen d2, it seems natural. I assume maybe black will try and put the knight on f5. I could play g4 before then, or I could play it after, because it doesn't seem to have any squares to go to afterwards. So I think just bishop g5. If f6, I'm just happy to open up the e-file. Okay, my opponent does go queen d8 back. I think just queen 2 now practically forces knight g8, because if knight f5, g4 should trap that piece. Against bishop takes, queen is defended twice. Okay. Yeah, it's somewhat tricky for black to develop now. I feel like putting this knight on c5 will be nice. Not seeing like a really easy way to knock out black here or anything. So I'll just continue to improve the pieces. Like, clearly I think white is better here, but there's not an obvious concrete continuation. So knight e4 seems quite sensible. I could bring the rooks in, but I can commit to them later. The knights are slow to move, so improving them first, I think does make sense. Knight e4, h6, just drop back. Knight e4, bishop d5 is, I guess, slightly annoying, but I guess knight bishop d5 is slightly irritating. Well, let's not spend too much time as I would guess our opponent's main hope is for us to run out of time. Trying to push for e6, I think, makes some sense. I think I will go for knight e4, and if bishop d5, we can just play rook e1. Yep. Oh dear. My internet has gone for some reason. I have managed to reopen the game on my phone, but sorry for the inconvenience. And my opponent did indeed play bishop d5. So, as expected, I am going to play rook f to e1. And then black takes on e4, which is a bit of a surprise to me. I will recapture. And then they immediately go h6. I think even pre-moved. I wonder if they're trying to make a point with maybe f5, but that seems overly optimistic on their part. So the question is where to drop the bishop back. The position is after bishop d5, rook f to e1, captures, and h6. And unfortunately, my laptop has not reloaded the page yet. I'll try here. No success. Okay. Bishop f4 seems sensible. I don't want to block the rook anymore. It's reloaded. I think I'll go with bishop h4 so that if my opponent wants to stop the bishop from being on the diagonal, they have to commit to g5, which I think is more of a weakness than a strength to them. And they do in fact play g5. Okay. I will now drop. I don't think I want to sacrifice on g5. Although, I guess I should consider it. But no, black's bishop just escapes to h6. So I don't think it's good. So now I would like to push e6, and I assume my opponent will play e6 before I manage to do that. So I could maybe go e6, knight e7 to try and actually finally finish castling. I don't think I can stop them from castling after e6, knight e7 castles, but yeah. Okay, so they do go e6. I don't think I can range d5. If I can rotate my knight into d6, that would be very nice though. Through somewhere like this. So I think going queen c3, dropping the rook back, knight d2, knight e4 is a sensible plan. Although I assume my opponent will try and plant this knight on d5, so perhaps having the queen on c3 just runs into that. So rook is not doing much on e4, and it feels slightly vulnerable, so I think I want to just drop it back. And assume knight e7, knight d5. I think playing rook c1, just to place a restriction on the knight, and activating my last piece. Okay, my opponent did go knight e7. Apologies about the connection issues. So we have knight e7, rook a to c1, black castling. Now I think I want to get, well, I don't want to undefend d4, but that doesn't seem like a nice way to do things. I guess queen d3, even though that leaves the queen vulnerable. I'm not hanging anything on, I'm not hanging b5 or anything. Now I want to try and just sink this knight into d6. If knight f5, I think I just take on c6. It would be nice to somehow get this bishop back into the game, but okay, our opponent goes for queen d6, which pressures these two pawns. I think rook c2, which lets me double one of the rooks. Should be good. So now if I move the knight away, That can take. Be nice if this bishop could somehow come back to defend this. I could go rook d2, but it's interfered by this knight d2 move. I could put the rook back onto e4. Or I could just double. I think doubling feels more natural to me. There's still no advantage, no tactic over this. Perhaps it was more sensible to defend the b pawn by just pushing b3. Although certainly black would try to push for a5, a4. Or maybe now b3 followed by rook c4, which adds another defender to... Okay. I think I want b3 now, even though it's not... I'm not too happy to make that move. So I could have played it earlier, but I think the rook doubling can't hurt. My opponent might be trying to double here and threatening to take here, but I am defending this more times. So perhaps it's being prepared for when I play knight d2. But I can pick queen e4 first. So I'll start with rook c4 and maybe play rook a4. I'm not losing the pawn, so... There's maybe knight f5, and then they have everything attacking on the square. But I still have rook takes c6. But now when I go knight d2, they have one of these taking, as this pawn is pinned. So I think I just unpin. The question is, where is my queen going to be good? Somewhere still defending d4, as... well, this is very much the focal point of the position. e4 is the most forward square, although it's where I want the knight to go, so I guess just to e3. Does have the downside of maybe captures and then having to take back with the f pawn, but that would entail black sacrificing a piece, I think. Although again, knight d2, now the rooks are lined up. So maybe even having to prepare again with rook 1 to c2. It's a lot of steps of preparation. I suppose I could go rook c5 to trade the rooks, but that seems just too slow. Queen e3 does also sort of run into knight f5. But there's... They're giving up of the... Okay. Can I go a4 here? Yeah, I could, but that just makes my pawn backward for some reason. So I think I will just go queen e4 here. And I could try and just rotate the knight through c4 instead. That seems okay. Cannot spend too long, of course. Just getting out of the pin. On f5, we just take it. Here I might actually have h5 now, sorry, h4, because g4 I can take. And then if I manage to take hg, well, I'm directly attacking, I guess. That seems nice. And then if I get the bishop here, that's also quite strong. So, yeah, a different idea from this knight e2 to d6 that I've been focusing on so much. Okay, this does directly attack this directly does attack the a2 pawn. I feel like just going rook 1 to c2 is sensible. I have to be careful with the back rank now, of course, but I'm going it twice. And I have a flight square. It's very hard for black to try and access h2. So I suppose if they manage to get 2 major pieces to the first rank, I'd be in trouble. But they are very long ways away from doing that. Okay. At the moment, I do have enough defenders on d4, but if I take, I won't have enough defenders on d4. It's more important. This is more important than this. So I think it makes sense just to go with h4 still. Queen isn't participating in attacking d4, so I think everything should be relatively comfortable. Next I want to just take on g5, I think. And then if I take with a knight, rook takes, rook takes, rook takes. And I can just take on c6. And okay. I think I want to just take with the bishop here, which hits the rook. But I can also just go bishop f6, or queen g4, bishop f6. Okay. This knight is not good on h5, so I'll just take with the queen. And next, ready to take on c6. And if I'm up 2 pawns, I think just trying to trade off the rooks is fine, as 2 pawns is a lot of pawns. Okay. Queen b5. This isn't threatening any kind of back rank mate in some mysterious way. Queen d3 is the most annoying move, I guess. But queen d3. Look here, I always have h2. Queen d3, just trade the rooks. Yeah. I can drop the rook back first, which I think I like. Or queen f4, followed by... Yeah, I like queen f4. Followed by rook d3, and then rook c7 or c8. Queen by itself coming to d1 isn't scary. But I could just trade the rooks immediately. It's hard to say no to that. Okay, let's just trade the rooks. And then queen f4, I think. Just coordinating. I have threats of taking on f7 immediately. And I'm also grabbing c1, so I can just drop the rook back there if I need it. Okay, let's put this rook into here. And now I might invest in just going g3, king g2, and then I didn't have to worry about any kind of checks. Just go check. Let's go g3. Now one trick Black might go for is somehow taking here and then trying to fork with the bishop. But I need to control e5 another time for that. Okay. I think I can just go queen e3 here, because 2 pawns is a lot of pawns. And then if they go after this pawn, I can just go a4. And then rook b7, rook c3. I can still go rook c3 anyway. Knight h5 is possible here, but doesn't seem necessary. I can just go with the knight d2 plan I've always wanted to go with though, at this point. I think maybe drop this rook back to c6, just go after their pawn. You can trade the queens, but that leaves this pawn a bit weak, so there's not a rush for that. I could of course go b4, b5, but okay, I have to be careful of... Oh, that's annoying. I may as well just trade the queens now, I think. No, queen e4 just drops the knight, don't do that. Okay, queen c3. Which is more counterplay than I would have liked to give back. Ugh. Okay, this is really annoying. See. Okay, let's just hold on to... I think go after f7. Made a mess of this. I could just take on a6. My opponent seems very eager to trade the queens. I wouldn't be that rushed to do it. Just see. To just push these pawns. Although they're controlling it twice, which is problematic. It's annoying they have this blockade. If I get rid of all the pawns, it's still Joto your draw. So that might be a good place to start. Suppose I can try and set up this pawn on f4, and then that makes things a bit trickier for black to win my pawns. And now they have to go after the g3 pawn here, or trade these, and that's slightly trickier. If I remain here, that I think is quite irritating. Okay, now I can start pushing these pawns here. Now, when you have... No, I have to be careful not to just get myself forked or skewed, because my king is on here. Yeah, that wasn't a good idea. Oh, this is slightly annoying move them, I think. Okay. And then... Well, they aren't threatening to take here, they're threatening to take there. Unless I go to defend with my king. How annoying. King. Bishop takes king, I think. I would probably be slightly worried as black about these pawns. I guess they maybe have calculated it out. Yeah, okay. Trying to push this way. If I put the rook here, that's maybe threatening f5. Maybe trying to get this rook check. I'm worrying to be close to maybe being just checkmated. So it's a bit of a concern. Rook here, check. King back. Bishop here doesn't set up this, I always have this square. Rook here. It's a funny move, but I don't think it doesn't. But black doesn't have to take. I think I can go here. As by the time... No, black does have this, I guess. But they are dropping this pawn if they do that. So... we'll go here. Rook is defended, which is nice. Yeah. Go king here. And I guess I'm trying to push this pawn forwards. King, pawn check, check. Takes. Not in time, so I can't go forwards. To drop back. This is unpleasant. Threatening me. Still me. Well, that was unfortunate. Like, I should have been very aware of the fact they were trying to go h6, bishop h6. Sorry, h5, bishop h6, and then I completely didn't consider those consequences. Too busy on And if I didn't put the knight on d2, there's nothing for them to do, I think. That's unfortunate loss. I think I was just winning all the way through until then as well. So this was a critical moment. I was down to a minute here. I can somewhat blame the whole time travel issue and the internet going up for a bit, but no. Oh my god, I just have f4 here. What am I doing? Just f4. Jeez. And that's such an easy move as well. And then I trade the queens and... Well, that's disappointing. It's not the difficult moves, it's just the easy ones. I maybe just shouldn't have let the queen come into d3, but... No, I think just taking the pawn has to be good. Yes, I defend again. Or maybe queen e4, I defend again, which is like the only reason you wouldn't do this. I mean, this position looks great. Queen e3, knight e2, knight c4. What am I doing? Like, this whole plan with h4 might not be the best, but I think it certainly made progress. Putting my king on g2 ended up losing me, but also just not playing f4. It's fairly obvious. At this point, maybe if I just went rook c3, or just rook c6 without the knight d2. Yeah, and... I didn't think something like this would have been good. This isn't possible, but maybe just h4. Not safe with the... Do have this. Not sure. I think probably black is just winning here though. Maybe taking first. f4. I could have been maybe more aggressive with the pawn pushing here. Somehow. Attacking the bishop here didn't have any point. But the reason I didn't was I think this. Yeah. And then I can't save both pawns. Maybe just this. If I go here, that's more passive. Go here. Here again. That's in the game, but I'm basically up a tempo, I think. Yeah. As my rook doesn't belong on c7. I just put it back. I saved 2 tempi, basically. The tempi I spent moving there, and the tempi I spent moving it back. And yeah, I think there's not really anything you can do to stop the pawn here. Black's pawn, I mean. This way, I'm just cut off. I was thinking about weird ideas like the bishop taking this. Not in time though. And of course they don't have to take. I think this was fine. I think this was reasonable. It's probably already just lost here. If I go forwards, I'm just mated and won. If I go this way, I think sack the pawn. King takes, bishop check. King somewhere. Here's probably fine because they already have the bishop, the rook under fire. And then just this goes in. So yeah, I think it must have been losing here. If I hadn't hadn't gone rook c7, would have saved. And the pawns would be like much further forwards. What was it? So going rook b5. And then if black continues, that's in the game. Rook here, rook here. Rook here, which is annoying. Rook here. Problem is black just has a blockade over these two squares. There's not really anything I can do to get rid of them. Maybe this is still holdable though, since it doesn't seem to be an obvious way for black to continue. So can they get me into some kind of zugzwang? Or somehow go off the pawn directly? Okay, so if they go here... Well, that's a repetition. It's an interesting endgame, but I guess not too relevant, since I was really down so low on time here. Rook c7 was not a good move though. Yeah, just... Like, I feel like I have hopes of holding here if I went directly for just trying to push these pawns. Or maybe even, like, quite aggressively going for it. Like, these pawns are scary. I mean, this is going to be much stronger, but... chances, I think. And yeah, just missing f4 is a huge oversight on my part. I was just somewhat blinded. And then I can just put a knight on. Okay. Starfish does not approve of knight d2. And yeah, I missed this in some trouble. In trouble. So yeah, I wondered if there was any hope to hold. If this... does this not... okay, rook c7. Oh, you can't take because of... yeah, okay. Well, I saw this line incorrectly, because I thought the bishop could take here, but the rook is just hanging. So yeah, this would have been better than the game. c3, yeah, rook c3 check, and you have to go after the pawn, and at least there's like some kind of race here. It's not so simple as... yeah. Okay, so that was a miss on my part. Rook b5, bishop e1, king here, rook here. Yeah, 3, and how does black win? Rook c1, I try to push. No, okay, so pushing loses the pawn, pushing loses that pawn, yes. Okay, I guess this pawn just falls. Which is fair. So... I was just winning out the opening, which is an annoying advantage to squander. It's somewhat funny that all these games here ended with white losing. Or black. Wow. King b6, knight c3, knight takes d5, yeah. I can just go bishop d2 because it's still this fork doesn't disappear. What was a weirdness? I mean, it doesn't really change the position, I think. But certainly something I shouldn't have missed. Yeah, b3 instead of rook c2 would have just made more sense. Like, Warriors, that does some a5, a4 stuff, but then rook c4, yeah. And still this h4 is good. Yeah, before. So if we can create. H4 here is bad because we lose the pawn. Yep. Computer does in fact want them to go back to e4, which is somewhat fun. Yeah, and I think I played my plan more sensible here with h4. And this was good. Just trade. Yeah. Knight oh. Didn't see knight g5, and then but knight g5 is just oh dear. I mean, I didn't even consider knight g5, but it's very much trying to just checkmate black. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Well, that was a miss. Free game ending on the spot. I played the second move, queen f1. I mean, I'm not going to blame myself for this. I'm going to blame myself for all the other bad moves. Knight h4, queen check, king h2. We can't get the queen that far away, that makes sense. And yeah. I mean, even just f4 before they play that, yeah. A really good game just ruined by blunder, and then, yeah, I'm saving it. Okay. 12 inaccuracies. Mistakes or blunders. That's a funny evaluation. Chess really is about just never blunder, I guess. Doesn't matter how many inaccuracies you make. Okay, maybe not. Okay. Thank you for watching and see you tomorrow. I'll leave any comment on what you thought of the game.